All right, welcome back to the channel. So today's task, I'm gonna move a hard disk, a virtual disk, a VHDX disk from one of my VMs here, and I'm gonna move it to another partition. So let's fire up Hyper-V, and this is the one. So I have two DCs, one DC, one firewall, and two app servers. So one is the primary, the other one is secondary. But I'm gonna move over the secondary to a different partition. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna move it to a different partition. Let's see where it's at. Right now, it's hitting the C drive. This is just something you want to. After you spin your VMs, you want to remove You don't want it to boot up with the image all the time. So it's sitting here on a RAID partition, but I want it away from here. I want to put it on a SAN storage. So let's go ahead and start. So even before you do anything, we got to remember shut down, not turn off, shut down. Now, if you don't know the difference, here's a little quick shutdown. It does a graceful shutdown. It makes sure nothing gets corrupt. Turn off is like when your system gets stuck and you can't move it and it's frozen. Then you want to turn off, and then you start it back up and then restart. Especially on Linux systems, if you run Linux systems on Hyper-V, this is the way you got to do it. All right, so let's do shutdown. Let's shut this VM down. Just to be on the safe side. All right, now that's off. So let's go ahead and open up the wizard. I'm pretty sure everybody done this, but I normally I know a lot of system admins already know how to do this, but I'm doing this for my documentation, and the ones that are starting up. You don't have to go read a book or anything. You can just quick video, 2-3 minutes. So okay, here's a wizard. Let's get back to work. Here's a wizard. Let's hit next. So here's two options: move the virtual machine, move the machine storage. So let's move the storage. And then we have three options here. You want to move all the VM's data? Nope. You move all the data? Nope. We're not moving data, remember? We're moving storage. Hard disk, right there. Right there, that's a magic word. Say next. So you got to make sure you select, you can have multiple ones, but this is the one that we're selecting, because if you unselect it, you see how there's nothing. So make sure that path, and then look, it's 11, the size is 11 gigabits. There's enough room there, but I want to move. I want to move away from the RAID. I want the RAID just focusing on the system OS. So let's go ahead and say next, and the path, the new location. So we're gonna click on browse to find the new location. And if in the real world you would have multiple depending on where you're gonna point it to. I'm pointing it to this failover cluster. This is a SAN box. This is a SAN storage device, and this cluster is clustering other hosts, but I'm moving it here temporarily, especially because it's a lab. So this is where it's gonna go, and then you want to make sure. So like it has 500 gigabits open. I'm moving it from 528, but the purpose of this is the move, not how much I have, right? Because in your case, for example, I did a few moves this week at work. I moved one that has a 3 terabytes to a different location. So let's do this. Okay, let's hit next. We'll verify everything. Now this process, once we finish, the process will start. The wizard will continue. Once it finishes, we can test. We can run a command and test it on the server. Or we can just we'll open up the settings, and that's the easiest way, because I don't want to log into the server, and then we can open up the settings and you'll see where it changed. But for example, I have 11 gigs. That should be a couple minutes. Hopefully, if it passes a minute and a half, I'm gonna pause it, because I want this video to be under 10 minutes. So we're at 2:14 p.m. Eastern. Let's wait. If it passes 15, if it passes a minute and a half, I'll pause it. If not, we'll continue. But so once it moves, we'll go back into the settings. We'll confirm, validate, and then we just turn on. And then just log into your computer, log into your VM to test it. But at this point, if you do the by the wizard, because this is the way the moves are, then everything should be smooth. Do not go into do not try to go into the physical location here and you go to your drive, because that's the wrong way to do it. You don't want to do that. So if you're migrating from one host to another, that's a different topic, and that also could be done because I've done it. You deploy a new host, and then you prep it, and then you want a couple of VMs over here to alleviate space and resources from your other device. You can bring them over too. It's called live migration, but that's a different story. Now that takes a little bit longer, but it works too. That's also one option you have, because you want to have your resources scaled out across the board. You don't want overloading. You don't want over. You want to have them work as they should. Not overheat, not overwhelm, not too far out. Okay, so I'm gonna pause it. I'll be right back. Oh, never mind. It just completed. Good news. Okay, so now let's go. Let's validate. Let's go back in here, the settings. Let's go to the hard disk. Okay, look at that. D. That tells me that it's moved. Now, once we fire it up, connect. And then we'll type in a command to make sure it's pointing to the right one. Let's see how fast it boots up. Should be really quick. It may be not, because I did shut it down, but that's not the. Let's wait. There we go. There we go. All right, so I paused it because it took a little bit more than a minute to load up, so that the server opened up. The one we just moved the disk. So I just want to validate. I want to validate the drive. So I already saw the settings on Hyper-V, but I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna open up a command line on the host where those VMs live. And then we'll go. And then let's see if just to make sure, right, before we release this back to the owners, or the owners of the server, because I'm not the owner. We server admins, system admins are like the repair guys, but we don't own. We have to make sure that the owners are. So let's get that get. VHH. Like the beat about PowerShells. If you don't remember the command, you just type in tab. Hard disk. Okay, let's see. Get no, it's VMH. Set up here. I'm a little kind of far from the here. This is it. VMH, and then it'll start, and you tab it, and then you'll get the. And then VM name. Enter. RP. Name of the. What's the name of that? Let's see. NC Node App 2. So NC dash Node 1 when you put something on parentheses and you're trying to hit the tab to fill in your rest, that doesn't work with that. Not because those PowerShell is expecting you to put your input, whatever name. That is not on the registry of PowerShell, on the cache of PowerShell. All right, so note one, and then it's APP02, and then let's close and then open a new PowerShell. Select object path. There you go. D. Sounds exactly. That's my validation right there. I can screenshot this, take it, send it, give it to the owner, and that's how you move it. All right. Hopefully somebody learned. Have a good one. All right. All right. Welcome back to the